What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Fight Maniac podcast. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we've had UFC 308 over there in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, been headlined by El Matador Topuria versus Max Blessed Holloway, man. And bro, I mean, we knew Ilia had power. We knew that, right? Going to the Volkanovski fight. But even then, even from that fight, you're like, well, did Volkanovski rush in too fast, too soon after Makhachev, Was his camp good, And not to take anything away from Topuria, but Alex did kind of rush in, right? So now we have this fight versus Max. Obviously, Max has never ever been knocked down or knocked out, and I was expecting the fight to go kind of how it was going. I was really, I looked at the distance, I looked at the reach. They're pretty even in reach, but Max is the taller guy, and you can tell he has the longer legs, right? You can kind of tell that Max was utilizing that a lot to his advantage, and he was doing that really well. He wasn't letting Ilia get too close, and he wasn't letting him find his groove. However, Ilia just finds the space, bro. Finds the space, finds the timing. That's the one beautiful thing that I noticed with Ilia is he slowly starting to get Max's timing down. And you can see it second round and third round, he's starting to land a little more. The first round, he took him down, which was fine, which is good. That's what I like about Ilia. He's well-rounded. He's not just gonna, look for the knockout. He was kind of headhunting a lot at first, and I think he kind of, he was trying to do too much of pointing down the middle and, bang it out and knock Max out in the first round. So he was focusing a little bit too much on that he kind of gave away the first round, even though he got a takedown. So, it is what it is. He probably won the first round anyways. But he was headhunting a little bit more. And then you can kind of see he kind of tying up, right? And he started going to the body and he started getting the timing down for Max. That was the most important thing, getting the timing down. Max was doing really good, though. He was doing really, really good, utilizing his reach. He's taller dude. He's got longer legs. The arm reach, though, they're pretty even, at least for what ESPN says here on the website, on their stats. Ilia didn't shoot the takedown because he wasn't having success, right? Or at least this is what he said. He said that he shot the takedown because he wanted to, have Max thinking about that, right? So now Max is like, okay, I can't just be up high like that, right? I also gotta watch the takedown. So then that opens up for Topuria to do some more work, maybe to the body, maybe to the head, obviously, which he ended up doing. So the key that Max had to do was stay away from the cage, stay away from the wall. If you look back at pretty much kind of like the Izzy fight versus Alex Pereira, or even Izzy versus Strickland. Izzy is a great example for this. Those times that he got hurt and he got knocked out, it was against the fence. He puts his back against the fence. He kind of does this thing where he acts like he's going to dodge it, and he does, dodge some of them. But essentially, when you're stuck to just that position and you can't go more back, and your opponent is not letting you go out to the sides, that's when you can get in trouble, right? And that's where Ilia, if you look at Volk, how he knocked out Volk, and a bunch of his other knockouts, they are against the fence, the cage. So from before the fight, I was saying, hopefully Max doesn't just, do that and lean against the cage and just hopes that Ilia doesn't tee off on him, and he hopes that he's trying to dodge something. He was doing that really, really well. Max was completely moving beautifully. He was a moving target the whole fight. I really liked that a lot about him. He wasn't just letting Ilia, go off. He didn't play Ilia's game. He was doing really good, man. He was doing really, really good. But then, obviously, famously, like Max said, he was doing really good until he wasn't. I believe it was a left hook that started the beginning of the end, that landed and rocked Max, and Max wasn't against the fence, but the left hook sent him to the fence. He got rocked, and he was like, oh shit. And that's when he sent to the fence, and that's when Ilia started teeing off on him. I don't know if he had a few body shots. I'm pretty sure he did, but Ilia is perfect at that. He doesn't headhunt always. He was headhunting earlier, like I said, but then he got smart. He said, hey, this is not how I fight. I'm going for the knockout too much. I'm focusing too much on the knockout. I gotta tighten up, and I gotta fight the way I know I can fight, and I can beat this guy. And that's exactly what he did. He tightened up his game. His boxing is, again, this is stuff that we already knew. This is stuff that we already knew that I talked about last week. Ilia Topuria, now probably crowned the best boxer in the UFC. My God, I mean, this guy is powerful. Powerful, especially for featherweight, bro. I mean, the power that he carries is insane. And he's a short dude. And you can kind of see it too. I mean, a lot of the power and a lot of his technique is on his waist. It's in the rotation, He doesn't wind up too much. You know who he reminds me a lot? Like Alex, right? He doesn't wind up too much. He kind of does a hook. He does wind up a little bit more than Alex. By the way, speaking of Alex, you know who reminds me a lot of Alex? And I'm kind of hoping they fight in the future because they're in the same division. Is this dude, Aibo Aslan, who fought in the prelims. He was the prelim main event. My God, he knocked the fuck out of his opponent. What was this guy's name? Cerquera? Rafael Cerquera. He knocked the fuck out of him, Alex style. Short little hook, and he was done. And I was like, holy shit. And this was a guy that I was watching a lot previous to the fight, because I just happened to look at his record. And by the way, I was streaming live on Friday or Thursday. Yeah, I think it was Friday. And I was watching the press conference, and some dude in the chat. By the way, if you want to catch one of the live streams, please, the next one, make sure you tune in. Some dude I didn't even know this guy like that, and this guy on the chat told me, hey dude, check this guy out, he's got all KOs. And I was like, holy fuck. I checked his record. He's got a 100% finish ratio. He has all KOs, always wins by KO. So I was like, okay, well, I wouldn't be surprised. And he fought really similarly to Alex. So I'm excited for that. He is in that division, but I believe he's unranked still. So we are going to have to just wait. But dude, this guy is going to be a problem, dude. And who knows? I mean, that division is already kind of cleaned out, right? So he really only needs a few impressive wins. If he keeps knocking people out like that, trust me, he's going to get skyrocketed into the top of the division. Before you know it, he's going to be like in a top 5 type of situation fight. And then who knows? Maybe we get him and Alex. That would be a crazy fight. And I was hoping he would call out Alex after the fight, but he didn't. So it is what it is. Going back to Topuria and Max, though. Shout out to Topuria. I mean, the dude did the impossible. He knocked out Max Blessed Holloway, which is something that no one has ever done before. It is a problem going into this fight. I knew that it was a possibility. It was a possibility because Max gets hit. Max obviously has a chin on him, but that's not saying it in a good way, right? He gets rocked. I mean, you see a lot of the fights he had against Volk or against Calvin Kattar. He gets hit a lot and he takes damage, but he utilizes that to go forward and also, inflict damage on you. He's definitely a volume puncher. I mean, if you can look at the total strikes, he was landing way more than Ilia, He had 209 total strikes and 204 significant strikes versus 144 for Ilia. So fuck, dude. I mean, definitely volume puncher and definitely super smart fight IQ. I think that's the thing that Max has going for him is his fight IQ, his understanding of distance and movement and timing are beautiful. But my God, bro, Ilia got the job done. Ilia has the nuclear option. And, I'm not saying that Ilia doesn't have technique, because Ilia obviously has right now probably one of the most beautiful techniques in the UFC, but you see guys before that have the nuclear option not always have that technique, right? Like Francis Ngannou and other type of characters like that. If they have that nuclear option, a lot of the times they don't have technique. In boxing, for example, you can see Deontay Wilder, for example, he was knocking people out unconscious, and he had the nuclear option 100%. And because of that, he never really developed like good boxing skills, like, footwork and timing and distance, right? Ilia has all of that. Ilia has the nuclear power. He has the technique. And let me just say this, he has the grappling and the jiu-jitsu, right? He's well-rounded. The guy is literally probably right now, in my opinion, top 2, top 3 pound for pound. And I know the official list might not reflect that right now, but bro, when you dispatch of 2 legends like that back to back, I mean, what are we doing here, bro? What are we doing here, Honestly, it's kind of like if some dude at lightweight shows up right now, and imagine that they knock out Khabib, but then they also knock out Islam. Like, it's kind of like that. This dude just dispatched 2 living legends that were still active, still, at the top of their game. Maybe not on their prime per se, but definitely still very active. Volk was very dominant champ. Max, you gotta realize, Max, a lot of people think that he was washed, that he's older. He's not that old. He's 32. And also, he's not really washed. He definitely has a lot more miles in him. But also, you gotta realize, by the time Max was 25, 26, he was already champ. And then before even 30, he already had all his title defenses, and he fought 8 championship fights in a row. The guy has mileage, and he is weathered. He's not washed. He's just, his whole, from literally from 19 years old to 20, he just did this amazing run, amazing career that we think of as like decades. We think of it as like 2 decades, but in reality, it's just been 1. So, I mean, the guy is definitely a legend, definitely a future Hall of Famer. And I feel bad for Max, man, because I really, really wanted him to regain that featherweight strap. I mean, especially because if you look at the way he lost it, it was kind of bullshit, right? It was the first Alex fight that it was super close, but the majority of people have Max winning that fight, and the refs the judges just kind of fucked him. So ever since then, he lost the title, and he went on this crazy run of fighting literally almost every contender in the top 5, going on impressive wins, but then challenging for the title again twice, 2 more times against Volk, and didn't go his way. The third time was obviously by a milestone. The third time he got mollywopped by Volk. I'll give you that. But yeah, I mean, it would have been an amazing storyline for him to regain that strap, and then hopefully maybe rematch Volk or something like that. That would have been a crazy storyline. So what is next for both of these 2 gentlemen? I'll start off with Max Holloway. I do think that his future, it's a lightweight. I do think that since he's not old, but he is gonna get older here pretty soon in the next few years. That weight cut is not the same, bro. That featherweight weight cut is definitely not the same. We all saw how he looked at lightweight. He looked powerful, right? He looked sharp. And I'm not saying that he didn't look sharp at featherweight, but if you look that sharp at featherweight, lightweight would probably suit you way better. So I do think his future is a lightweight. I do see him, however, one way he could stay at featherweight maybe is if he is like, for example, a last minute replacement for, let's say, Ilia versus Volk 2. Not last minute, like out of the couch, but let's say he's in shape, he's trained, he's in camp, and they call him, right? Hey, Volk is out, fight Ilia in 2 weeks, right? Nothing too crazy, not like a 2-day notice, not a 1-week notice, we don't take those for sure at that level. Let's say like a 2-3 week notice, right? Hey, Volk is out, Max, do you want him, right? I think that's a feasible kind of scenario that he would say yes. But other than that, I don't see him, going back to the queue and fighting contenders again. He already cleared out that division, bro. Like, I don't think he wants to do that again. I think for that division right now, Diego Lopez will be up next. I do think you give him one more fight, a title eliminator fight against who? I don't know. Could it be Max? I doubt it. I don't think so. It could, but I doubt it. Again, Max, Max has to go up to lightweight. There's some really, really fun matchups for him at lightweight, man. I mean, obviously, him against Islam would be a crazy fight. Him against Charles Oliveira would be a crazy fight. Someone suggested in the press conference that maybe him against Dan Hooker for the BMF. Hey, I love that. I would never say no to that. He is ranked number 5 at lightweight, which is crazy. You got the Dustin Poirier rematch, you know, that's always there too. So he's got a lot of options at lightweight. And when you look at lightweight, it just looks more refreshing, right? It looks, I don't know. Like I said, like right now, he's probably looking at featherweight like, oh shit, like I already did that. I don't want to do it again. So lightweight is definitely the way to go. But shout out to him, and definitely take some time off too. Like definitely don't rush back in at all. Do not take any last minute fights this year. Literally rest and heal your brain and your body for literally the rest of the year, bro. Like look what Justin Gaethje did. He took 6 months off after the UFC 300 knockout. So yeah, I think Max should definitely do that. As far as Ilia, there's talks of him, you know, going up and fighting Islam. I don't think he should do that. You know, a lot of you fuckers, you rush back immediately. Someone wins a belt. Oh, go up, go down, be double champ. Bro, you know, even Dana said it himself. He said it nicely, but he said, I like it when fighters clear out a division, right? And then we can see about moving up or moving down, whatever he wants to do, right? I doubt he would move down. He'd probably just move up. He only has pretty much one title defense right now. So, I mean, you know, he's still got a lot of work to do at featherweight. Like I said, you got Diego Lopez there waiting for him. You got a Volkanovski rematch waiting for him. It'd be fun to see Ilia versus Yair. That'll be a great fight. Maybe if Yair gets 1 or 2 more wins, you give him that. And then, you know, if you look at lightweight right now, lightweight is too saturated too, especially if imagine Max moves in at lightweight and then Ilia becomes the champ at lightweight. Like, that wouldn't make any sense at all. Lightweight is saturated. You got Islam there, obviously, who probably will fight fucking, what's his name? Armin Tsarukyan. You have a potential title eliminator fight with Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, so that's fun. And then you're gonna have Max Holloway in the mix as well. So if I'm Ilia right now, I leave lightweight alone. I don't touch lightweight for another year or two. You know, I focus on Diego Lopez. I focus on Volkanovski and defending my belt. Maybe another contender rises up within the next year or two. You know, and then only then we can talk about going to lightweight. So that's my prediction for that. Obviously super sad that Max got KO'd. I was expecting it, but I was not expecting it. You know, it's one of those things. But the co-main event obviously was Robert, the Reaper Whittaker, versus Khamzat Chimaev. A little anticlimactic, especially after you find out what happened. Obviously, Khamzat comes out, immediately shoots for the takedown, as it was expected, you know. He always does that. And my prediction for this fight, by the way, I was wrong last week. I said that this was going to be a 3-round fight. I was wrong. I didn't even know. This was a 5-round fight, so sorry. When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, this kind of benefits Robert, right? Being the more experienced fighter, having done a few of the 5-rounders. And we famously see Khamzat gassing out, right, and getting tired. If you look at, for example, the Kamaru Usman fight, he goes out like a fucking banshee, and by round 3, he's slowing down and he's gassed. If that Kamaru Usman fight is 5 rounds, I really think Kamaru gets the dub. I think he brings it back down and maybe even get a finish. You know, who knows? But immediately Khamzat shoots. We saw some good wrestling. You know, we saw good scrambles. Robert did really good at defending early on, not getting submitted right away. He got put in a few chokes early on that I was like, oh shit. But then he got out. I was like, okay, good. But then I don't know exactly when it happened, but it came the one that Khamzat, I don't know if it was before. I don't know if it was before he went around but it looked like it wasn't under the chin. It was definitely on the face, right? I don't know if it was then or it was before that his teeth. Oh my God! If you guys haven't seen the picture, it's very graphic. But you know, his teeth literally go on a row. You know, like his bottom teeth. You know how they go on a curve like that. The top 3 or 4 are just caved in. Are just going the opposite way in a direction that it shouldn't be going. And I can imagine how painful that must be, bro. Talk about the recovery for that, bro. Talk about not eating any meat or anything like that. Any sandwich, a burger. Like, oh, you're probably going to have to drink smoothies for like 6 months, dude. That's so bad. That's so bad. So definitely a little anticlimactic. I was wanting that fight to develop, but I mean, you can say that, hey, it wasn't really a doctor stoppage. It wasn't really like a freak accident. It was something that Khamzat did to cause that injury, right? He rolled with him. He had him in uncomfortable positions. Maybe the break actually happened when he squeezed. So if that's the case, then Khamzat, either way, Khamzat is a fucking animal. I mean, to do that whole takedown and transition and damn near, regardless of if his jaw was broken or not, I think he had to choke. Honestly, he had to choke. By the way, it wasn't his jaw. Sorry, it was just his teeth. So to do that to Robert motherfucking Whittaker, okay, that tells you right away that Khamzat is ready for a title shot. Yes, I'm saying it right now. I do want Khamzat to get this title shot over Sean Strickland. Please. Not that I don't like Sean Strickland. He's not my favorite fighter, but he's a cool guy. But I don't know. I just feel like Strickland, I don't know how to put it in a nice way. He kind of talks a bit too much. And it's good, but look at Khamzat this fight week, bro. I mean, he was a complete different Khamzat. He was cool, calm, collective. He was humble, which was impressive. He showed a lot of respect to Robert. He showed a lot of respect and a lot of respect to the fighters and obviously to God. He always does that. But he looked like a different Khamzat, and he did kind of talk about a little bit about how he had a kid and he kind of realized that like, I gotta provide for him and be better for him. So I like the new Khamzat, man. And, you just can't deny the guy at this point. You can't deny the guy. We've heard from him we've heard from everybody else that knows him, that's around him, that he is the boogeyman and that he is the best in the world. We hadn't really seen that in the octagon just yet for a few reasons. He hadn't fought a highly ranked opponent. He hadn't gone the distance, He hasn't gone through a lot of adversity. So there's a lot of question marks surrounding Khamzat still. But my man, if you do that to Robert fucking Whittaker, for sure you can do that to DDP, bro. And I think Khamzat will be your next champ. I think the next fight he gets is the title, regardless of if it's against DDP or Sean, right? I would hope that they make DDP Khamzat and not DDP Strickland. Again, nothing bad about Strickland. He was the champ. He lost a very close decision against DDP as well, so I'm sure he wants that back. But I don't know why I don't think the UFC want to see that fight. And you kind of see it, right? You kind of see Dana stand up and go to Khamzat and kind of tell him something. And Dana, in the press conference, they asked him, what did you tell Khamzat? And he told them, all he said was that he told them that they'll call him soon or that they'll talk to him soon, right? Hey, that means title shot, okay? You don't go to a fighter and say, I'll call you soon or I'll call you later, right? That means he's going to get some good news, right? And good news is not going to be like, hey, fight the number 4 guy in the world. No, the good news is going to be you're fighting for the belt. So I really do think that's what's going to happen. I really do think the UFC, I mean, if it was up to Dana and the UFC, Khamzat would have been champion 2 years ago, But obviously, he had some health issues. He couldn't fight for a long time, and he also had some scale issues. He originally was at welterweight, and he couldn't make weight, obviously. So Now that he's a middleweight and he doesn't have to cut as much weight, still looked a little rough in the weight cut. If you look at him on this scale, still looking a little rough. Little. He was depleted and he was the last one to weigh in, which is not. It's not a good look when you're the last one to weigh in. You know, it kind of shows that maybe it took you a little bit longer to make the weight. You know, so. Who knows? But obviously middleweight is his bread and butter. That's where he should stay. He shouldn't even touch welterweight. If anything, he should go up to light heavyweight, bro. and you know, see what the fuck is there for him. But I do believe the UFC want Khamzat to be champion. He's a fucking massive superstar in Europe, in the Middle East, in the USA too. He's a massive fucking name, dude. So I'm excited for him. I do hope that he gets the shot, man. I'm not going to repeat it again, but he needs the shot against DDP next. And that's the only fight I want to see at middleweight. Honestly, that's the fight that right now excites me. We've seen Easy there. We've seen Strickland there. Like, we want some new blood, right? And it's kind of crazy to say because, I mean, that division was ran by Izzy for a long time. So the fact that we had some new blood, DDP was the new blood, but now we're kind of saying, well, give us some newer blood. Nah, he's Khamzat, bro. Here's Khamzat. So the reason why Khamzat wasn't even mentioned or talked about, right, even by DDP or by Izzy a few months ago is because of all the issues he had and because, you know, he was supposed to fight Robert Whittaker a few months ago and didn't happen. So, and he wasn't active for like a year or so. He was pretty much out of the conversation, but now definitely finishing Robert motherfucking Whittaker in the first round puts you at the very top of that conversation. So, shout out to Khamzat. Hope he gets a title shot. That's next for him. Sorry, I kind of rambled on there for a bit. Next, we had a good light heavyweight bout as well. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. This one went the distance, a little bit, anticlimactic as well. Rakic was doing a good job at targeting Magomed's legs, which is kind of what Jan Blachowicz was doing as well against Ankalaev. So I think that Rakic kind of took a note out of that fight from a few years ago at this point, I think maybe a year or two ago. He attacked the legs. He was doing a really good job. Magomed didn't really have any takedowns either. I mean, he is known kind of as a wrestler, but he didn't shoot at all in the fight. He only just kept it in the feet. And, you know, it was an okay striking match. It wasn't, nobody got like rocked. Nobody got dropped. Nobody got fucking obviously finished. But it was an okay striking match. And, you know, I kind of expected a little bit more from Rakic, so I'm kind of disappointed, especially because when you look at his last 3 fights, I mean, I said this last week, but my God, this guy has gone through fire, bro. And, you know, 2 former champs and now an undefeated fucking Russian, like, it's not good. It's not good. Obviously, Magomed calling for the shot, and a lot of people said that, hey, even before Khalil, maybe even before the second Jiri fight, a lot of people were saying, well, hey, this is the guy that's next. Like, rightfully so, right? Well, I don't know why the UFC didn't give him a title shot. Maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't want to speculate, but, you know, he did get a draw and then a no contest. So that kind of sets you back a little bit. But he didn't lose. He's still undefeated. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy. But other than that, I think he's next, especially because, like I said, Alex cleared that division through and through. I don't think he's going to move to heavyweight. I already broke this down like 2-3 episodes ago. Alex should definitely at least defend the title one more time against Magomed and then wait for the John Jones fight. The John Jones fight is going to happen first, right? He's going to fight. Then he's going to retire. Then defend against Ankalaev, and then go up and fight Tom Aspinall. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Stipe and John both retire. I think Tom is going to probably get a title. Undisputed title. He's going to go from interim to fighting for the undisputed against the winner of, who is it? Cirogan, and who's fighting? Cirogan and Volkov, right? Yeah. Cirogan and Volkov are fighting when? In December. So a lot of moving pieces here. Stay with me. But those two fight. John Jones fights. They retires. Stipe retires too. Regardless of the result, whether John Jones smokes Stipe in the first round or whether it's a war and Stipe wins, both of them retire. I'm calling it right now. I don't think John Jones stays. And then Tom Aspinall fights the winner of Cirogan and Volkov. And then after that, if Tom is able to obviously win that, which he should, and then only then he's going to fight the title. He's going to fight against Alex, but only after Alex defends the title one more time against Magomed. That's it. That's my prediction for the heavy and the light heavy future of the divisions, and I'm calling it right now. I'm 99% sure that's what's going to happen, right? If you see it, all the pieces are kind of aligning right now, right? This is kind of like when middleweight was kind of getting aligned with DDP and Strickland. That's kind of it, right? You're kind of seeing it right now. You see it, it's kind of like Game of Thrones, where you see the families and the castles are kind of getting ready for the war and who's siding with who. It's kind of like that. You're seeing what's going to essentially lead. It goes from 4 fights to just the pinnacle of one. You're kind of seeing that right now. So I'm excited for that. Maybe I don't sound too crazy, hopefully. But I'm excited for that. I think Magomed has to fight for the title. If they give him one more fight, if they give this dude one more fight, if I'm him, I'm saying no, bro. I'm saying fuck you guys, dude. Where's he gonna go? Unfortunately, he can't go nowhere. I think I don't want to speculate. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard at one point he was kind of threatening to leave the UFC if he didn't get a title shot. And, that's cool and all, but like, where are you going to go, bro? Like, you're going to go to Bellator? You're going to go to PFL? Like the only other sport that I would consider competing with the UFC is one championship. And that's the only place he could really go. But other than that, the UFC is where it's at. That's where you're going to be the more well-known, the better paid. And if you do become champ in the UFC, you'll be considered the best in the world. So unfortunately for Magomed, he has to take it, But it's looking good, though. It's looking like Dana kind of, at the press conference said, okay, yeah, he looks good. And I'll give him a title shot. So he didn't say that per se, but, it didn't sound negative either. So I'm optimistic. Maybe I do think that we get Magomed versus Pereira early 2025, probably like February or March, if I had to guess. So excited for that. Excited for that fight for sure. Who knows? Maybe Magomed shoots in the first round and fucking submits him. That'll be crazy, But we'll see. We had Dan Ige, unfortunately, get the loss against Murphy. Feel bad for Dan Ige. He did say that he was on a losing streak at Abu Dhabi. So I was wanting him to get the dub. Unfortunately, that did not happen for him. That didn't go his way. For Murphy, I think now that he said it himself, I think this puts him in the top 10. And this is really, really interesting because, hey, we're talking a featherweight, right? So we're talking about maybe if he gets 2 more impressive wins now in the top 10, maybe he can get a title shot within the next year or 2. That's possible. But Murphy, you got to tighten up your game a little more. Definitely has ways to go. Definitely saw some holes in his game. He had 3 takedowns, so that's good. He had, he has the grappling, but he didn't really do a whole lot with the takedowns. He kind of just, didn't capitalize. So maybe sharpen your ground game a lot. But, at this point right now, I'm legit thinking that Ilia will defeat any featherweight in the world, bro. So Murphy has a long way to go, but hey, top 10, enjoy it while it lasts. Not in a bad way, like enjoy it, but grind and get better because it's going to get tougher from now on. So Danige, though, shout out to Danige, hoping for the best. Hopefully he bounces back. We have Shara, the Bullet Magomedov, landing probably the top 5, top 7, one of the best knockouts in the UFC ever, I would have to say. It's up there with like Joaquin Buckley. It's up there with Max Holloway. He landed a double spinning back fist, which is crazy. He threw the first one. It didn't really land. It hit the guy in the arm right here, Petrosian. But then he immediately went right back and boom, and knocked him the fuck out. So it was good. It was a good KO. Overall, though, Chara, and I've said this before in previous fights, he has to improve, bro. He has to improve, especially with how much hype he has. He has a lot of hype behind him. He's really popular. He's really famous, obviously, in the Middle East as well, and in Russia. He's at middleweight, so it's a fucking tough division, bro. I mean, that's Khamzat's division. That's DDP's division, So he has to definitely improve his game. He has no ground game, essentially. He has no takedowns at all. Nobody got taken down in this fight either. This was a very good matchup for him because he was also a striker versus striker. So that was good for him. But even then, I mean, he had to go through some fire. It wasn't an easy fight at all. He definitely struggled in the first round. I don't know who won the first round. I would say it was definitely close. It was definitely close, but both guys were having success, especially Petrosian was having success to the body and to the kicks. To the legs. He was attacking Chara's legs really, really well. He had 45 leg kicks. That's wild, bro. But hey, Chara got the dub done. And right now, this is where that's okay. Right now, if you struggle against the guy, but you eventually get the finish, like that, right now is where you can do this, right? But once you break into the top 10, top 50, that's where you have to tighten up your game, bro, and be well-rounded. And make sure you're not taking damage against some of these guys. Because imagine this guy against fucking Khamzat. I mean, it's over, bro. It's over. This guy has no fucking grappling. So him against Khamzat, same weight class. It could happen at some point in the future. Who knows? He has a long way to go, but you never know. It would be a nightmare. Or him against Strickland or Izzy. Like this high level strikers. He's going to get pieced up right now. He definitely has to improve his defense. He got kind of rocked at the beginning of the fight in the first round. He got kind of rocked. He recovered well, though. It wasn't like a full rock, though. He was kind of like, he got stunned. But hey, it was really fun. I mean, if you look at the stats, though, Petrosian still had a more significant strikes. So he was, dare say, he was winning the fight. He had more total strikes, more significant strikes. Landed more headshots and landed more leg kicks. The only thing Chara had going for him was the body shots. He landed 29 versus the 10 for Petrosian. So obviously 0 takedowns. So, and look at Petrosian's had 20, the control, this is 21 seconds versus Chara's 2 seconds. So, I mean, definitely has to improve. Has a long way to go. Has a long way to go. Then we had Ibo. I already talked about this guy, Ibo Aslan. My God, I did not know this guy before UFC 308. I dare say. I'm sorry, don't call me a casual, but I really did not know this guy. My God, he has power. I mean, there's nothing more to say. He's got power. He took little to no damage, bro. Fucking Cercera, or Cercera, however you say his name, sorry. He had 1 strike. 1 total strike, 1 significant strike. I mean, 1 leg kick. He threw 2 fucking strikes the whole fight. Fucking Ibo threw 28 total strikes. Sorry, 28. And my God, he got knocked the fuck, bro. He's dangerous. He's like Alex. I'm telling you right now, he is like Alex. I'm calling it right now. This is my dark horse. This is my prediction for the next... No rushing. The next 2 to 3 years, this guy, you'll see him at the top of the light heavyweight division. He is dangerous. He knocks people out like Alex, that kind of short little left hook. And I like it. I like it a lot. All knockdowns, all finishes, the guy just goes for it. And it's funny, Daniel Cormier kind of, I guess, told him that, hey, you told me you're going to be more patient and more collective, in this fight. And then you just went for the kill. Hey, that's a guy that when he sees the kill, if he sees the opportunity, he's going to go and take it. So shout out to Ibo. I wish him the best. Still unranked, I'm pretty sure, I'm guessing, right? But also, like I said, Alex already cleared out that division, bro. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a top 15 fight within the next year or two. So just keep grinding, keep doing your thing, keep knocking people out. And maybe this guy, will make some waves in the next few years. So I'm excited for that. Super excited for that. Last fight I wanted to talk about on here was RDA versus Jeff Neal. Unfortunately, RDA, blowing out his knee in the first round. So another fight that was super anticlimactic, and feel bad for Jeff too, because good for him that he got paid and he wasn't really hurt, but he was definitely, you can tell right away that he was in control of that fight. He had the takedown, he had the significant strikes going for him, and it's unfortunate that RDA just blows his knee out, in the first round. And, it's tough because you see RDA, he's a legend. Obviously, he's been there with the who's who, but he's also 40. It was his birthday 2 days ago, right? He turned 40 years old. So, feel so bad for him. I hope he's able to bounce back. I hope his injury is not super, serious, and I hope that he's able to bounce back. And shout out to Jeff Neal for getting that dub. However, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I don't even know why he took this fight. We know why he took this fight, but it wasn't a great scenario for him because RDA is not even ranked at a welterweight. He's ranked at lightweight. He's 15 right now. But obviously Jeff Neal is at welterweight, and this fight was at welterweight. And Jeff Neal is ranked number 10, and RDA wasn't ranked. So you gotta wonder that if RDA would have got past Jeff Neal, he would have been in the top 10, but I don't know. I think Jeff Neal just kind of stays where he's at. I don't think he kind of, goes up and goes down. So, hey, he got paid. So, shout out for him. That's the main reason. Obviously, he got paid, but I don't think this did a whole lot for his career and for his ranking. I think he stays the same. And he didn't even win in like a spectacular fashion. If he would have knocked out RDA, then yeah, maybe, put him up there, maybe a ranking or two higher, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So it is what it is. But hey, there's some exciting matchups for him at welterweight again, and Jeff Neal is a guy too that he's been there a while. Unfortunately, he's never been able to like fully grasp the top of the division. He's always been kind of like back in the midfield. So, feel bad for him, but hopefully he's able to, find something soon and capitalize and maybe make a title run, man. He's also a little bit up there in age, right? He is, I believe, 34. He's 34. So, hey, you better get going now, my man. You better get going. You only have a few years left. But he's also a veteran. He's also been there with, some of the best in the world. So, shout out for him, bro. And he has a win over Bilal. So, that's it's impressive. That's super impressive. So, shout out to him. And, the rest of the card was okay. I really liked which one was the crazy fight? It was, it was Rebecki, right? Or how do we say his name? Rebecki versus Oralbai? Fuck, dude, these names are... the Kyrgyzstan guy versus the Polish guy, right? I gotta get this right. It's Mateusz Rebecki versus Miktibek Oralbai? or Oralbai? I'm so sorry. But it was a crazy fight. I think he got fight of the night, which is amazing. These two guys went at it. Oralbai, from the very first round, had a nasty swollen eye. Like, nasty, bro. He couldn't see at all. He was checked by the doctor, and they let him go. They let him fight, which is great. I was hoping they were not going to stop that fight. And, you're thinking he's injured. He's probably going to go... you think he's probably going to, be an easy fight for Rebecki, but, then a headbutt happens. Rebecki gets slash cut. He's leaking a lot. He was bleeding a lot. And from there, Oralbai was able to capitalize from that and find some success. This was a very well-rounded fight. There was takedowns involved. There was a lot of significant strikes here. There was a lot of fucking body strikes. So These two guys were really, really good fighters and really good showcase and, fight of the night deservingly. It was a catch weight, unfortunately, because I think I heard that it was either Rebecca or Oralby was having issues getting into the country. He didn't get into the country until, I want to say, Wednesday or Thursday. So because of that, the weight cutting was damn near impossible. So they did it at catch weight at 160. I was wondering that because during the weigh-ins, I saw Oralby weigh in. And they said 160, but they didn't explain anything until the broadcast. John Anik said, by the way, if you are confused why this fight is at catch weight, it's because of this. So shout out John Anik, the best motherfucking play-by-play commentator in the fucking world. He's goated. And shout out to him. So yeah, that is all. That will do it for this podcast. UFC 308 delivered, in my opinion. The main card was really, really good. Better than some of the previous cards that we've had that had a little bit more hype on them. This one was kind of going a little bit under the rug a little bit. It was kind of being overlooked a little bit. I think because of the whole Alex Pereira and then the whole John Jones thing. Everybody kind of looked at the featherweights like, whatever. But my God, this guy's delivered. Shout out to Ilia Topuria, not new, but, now a defending champ. Now is where the party starts. I've heard that once you defend your belt, that's when you start making the real money, right? And when you make the pay-per-view points. So shout out to Ilia Topuria. Shout out to Max Holloway, man. Still a legend, still a fucking killer. And hope he bounces back as, blessed Holloway. The best is blessed. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all. As always, don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Let me know if I made sense. Let me know if I'm just yapping. Let me know if anything I said makes sense. I could just sit here and just fucking yap for 40 minutes and you guys say, this guy's crazy. But just let me know. Thank you guys and catch you on the next one. Peace.